The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Closer and closer to the playoffs as the 2025 season hits approximately its halfway point. The Area Truck Series has seen a multitude of different winners, some domination, some up-and-comers to the top of the pylon, and of course, our heavy hitters getting the wins week after week. Mercurio is in his groove, but Sebastian Marin has been taking a lot of the crowns here as of late, and what will happen here today at Kansas, which is deemed one of the best tracks currently on the NASCAR circuit. All these answers will be figured out in a matter of moments here as we start today's coverage off here on PTR TV of the Area Truck Series. Race number 10 is what we have here this evening, and we are racing at the Kansas Speedway for 120 laps. I want to thank everyone for tuning in here and spending a Tuesday night with us here. Going to be a little bit different here today at the top of the booth because Brad had to take the week off for stuff, and it's going to be Andre Dirt Groundbush here, as we call him here, and then of course myself, Corey Silva, in the production truck, pushing all the buttons and giving you the play-by-play here. So Andre, I know you don't know these guys, but you do know Truck Series and you do know Kansas, and this is certainly going to be a very chaotic, probably pack-style race I'm reckoning we're going to have tonight.
Yeah, it's really going to be a tale of two races. When the tires are fresh and it's early on in the race, we're going to see a lot of pack racing. Like you said, the draft is going to be strong, the field is going to be close together. Then the tire wear is going to set in, and you're going to see the drivers start to move around the track, migrate around, try different lanes. We'll see a little bit of separation, and it is going to be a little bit of a conservation game. See if you can save your tires, be good on the long run. That is very valuable here at Kansas, and it is one of my favorite ovals, not only on the surface, but in real life, so definitely looking forward to it.
You can see here we are in the twilight lighting here as things do turn their way into a night event here, as we're about 8 o'clock here, sim time at May 10th is our virtual date, so this will be a night race, adding to the grip level and adding to the speeds and adding to, kind of adding some inches to Superman's cape there, as these drivers will feel over the course of the evening. Let's go over our point standings here. Again, race number 9 in the season here. Well, that is what we've concluded here at Dover Speedway last week. Mercurio starting to pull away upwards of nearly a 50-point lead, 48 to be specific, over Conrath. Seth Noel, Jake Nichols, and Ryan Andrew there in the top 5, and then Pacioli, Kuntz, Howell, Beckner, and then a tie for 10th there, 141 points back. But all of that is not to be too much fret of if you're too far back, because our top 12 will be resetting in a few weeks. We'll kind of talk about that as things do taper off here. Next week we will be off for the Truck Series, but we're going to have the All-Star race next week, so you'll be able to stay tuned for that. But all in all, practice is over, and let's just pull up our timing here, and I imagine these are going to be pretty tight times. Yes, they are. Top 15 separated by less than 2/10, Andre. That is pretty tight stuff.
Yeah, and again, you kind of expect to see it, especially in these trucks. The first few laps on fresh tires, especially at night when the track temp is low, it's going to be a whole lot of full throttle racing. So you're kind of driving it like you would drive Daytona, Talladega, just trying to get the right line without scuffing the speed. And speaking of the conditions, 85 on the track, 82 in the air. I'd expect that to go down a little bit as the sun begins to set. 36% humidity, and not very much wind, which actually at a track like Kansas, the wind can play a pretty major role, but very like us, not going to be looking out for that too much tonight. But either way, we are done with practice, going to be qualifying pretty soon. We're going to find out where the field shakes up. I got to ask Corey, how important do you think qualifying is going to be, given the packed nature the early portion of this race is going to have?
It's going to be pretty important to stay out of the wrecks for sure. I didn't get an indication, because I just didn't look, at the car count here today. Usually we have some DNQs to speak of, and I do know that in the area, traditionally, unless it's told to me otherwise, it is a 1-lap dash for the qual lap here in the trucks. That's a hard amount of time to get yourself up to speed here. You're going to see these guys rim riding here on the outlap to get every last ounce of momentum here, because that very well could be the difference in a tenth of a second or so.
Yeah, it could be a huge difference. And, getting wound up on that high line, making sure you use that pocket of air that iRacing does have that allows them to ride the wall a little bit closer is going to be paramount. But then on your quick lap, you want to dive down to the apron, make sure you hit it just right, cut it as much as you can in the trial. That's what we're going to be seeing. Following along now with that number 1, Seth Knoll, Nico Servideo. I would assume you have the pronunciation on that, Corey, but Nico putting his lap time in, 28:29. Going to be a 30.7. Not a bad time. First on the pylon. Let's see where it stacks out when more times come in. Looks like Nico going to stay P1. Josh Parrish right behind him. All coming in at once. And just like practice, Corey, these lap times are not separated by much.
Yeah, not at all. Ryan Andrew, always a heavy hitter here in the series, and he'll put himself at a 7:03. That should put him preliminarily in the 4th spot there. Jake Fisher in that number 84 coming down the back straightaway here. And something that does happen, in the real world, Andre, you kind of wait to get the perfect time to run your lap, where we are kind of at that pivotal sunset point here in the session. I would imagine these guys will probably want to wait as late as possible, because even that 1 degree gain of track temp, or 1 degree loss, I suppose, of track temp could be paramount there as Jake Fisher goes P3.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but it does affect the lap times, especially when it's a game of inches. Everybody's this close together. Every little change in conditions is going to matter. And iRacing has, over the years, reduced the amount of grip you get from cold temperatures and how much you lose when it's sunny. They have toned it down a little bit. But even today on the most modern build, it is still very, very important. Probably more so than in real life even. So you got to pay attention to the weather. This is not a qualifying session that really gives you too much wiggle room. I mean, I do know some guys on iRacing, they like to keep an eye on the temp, keep an eye on the clouds, and they'll go out when they think it's ideal. But these guys only had 5 minutes to go out there and put a lap down. So kind of forcing their hand as Preston is going to put his lap time in at 30.724.
Well, I thought it was a good one. That just shows how tight the times are all the way back there. Travis Beckner, our flagman at Hendry County Motorsports Park, one of the series sponsors. What could he muster? That's a good lap. It's going to put him right in the thick of things in the 4th spot, so that'll help him on his efforts here. We got Peyton Howell. He's just starting his lap. We'll have plenty of time to get it off. Who else do we got? We got David Weishart. Again, a lot of these guys, as I said, going for that last second lap. Here's our points leader, Brian Mercurio there. And he's going to try to take that Rebel Rabbit Seltzer F-150. He's going to put it P9, not as high as he usually is, but I'm sure he'll work himself up there. Here comes Peyton off turn 4.
And it looks like it's going to be a 30.735 for Peyton Howell. And again,
1/10 off.
Not a bad lap time, but when everybody this close together, it can really put you down the pylon. Weishart going to be a 30.667, so a little bit closer to the top of the pylon for him. Bryce Senesac is going to be putting in his time in that 09 machine. Nobody has had anything for Jonathan Evans since he took the top of the pylon. He has remained there just a few hundredths of a second. We'll see what Bryce has in store. 30.750. So the 26 going to keep his position on pole provisionally. 22 seconds remaining, so whoever has not put in a time, the time is running out.
Yeah, and I'm just looking here at our timing there, Andre. Usually we start 43. We have 45. So our admin will let us know in a jiffy, or a Skippy, depending on your choice of peanut butter there, who is going to be the DNQ here. We will have a lot of penalties to go over here. Andre, you'll recognize this from other series we've had. They kind of do their own points system here in regards to incidents, and different precedents get set based on who's at fault by the admin calls. And as you get more incident points, essentially you get penalties. Therefore, we have a bunch of EOLs to speak of, and well, that'll certainly throw. Actually, you know what? I'm already talking about it. Let's just go over it right now, as a matter of fact. So, a lengthy list. End of lines, we have Diedrich, Beckner, Danny Ware, Josh Ballier, Tanner Bethea, and Gabe Herschel. And then Ricky Springer is going to get the drive-through, which could be approximately, yeah, I mean, that could throw him a lap down, but definitely a lot of issues these guys have had that they'll have to pay the price for tonight.
And it is worth mentioning, I do believe we had more cars attempt to qualify than we have slots in the race. So there is going to be some go-homers today, as a lot of drivers showing up for Kansas. Not surprising. Obviously, area a very popular league, and Kansas a very popular track. I think every time this track rolls around on any schedule, be it the official schedule or a league schedule, people come out of the woodwork, man. They love this place, and for good reason. A ton of fun to be had here, but qualifying is sort of getting their warm-up laps in, just a little bit of a last-minute refresher, see what they can pick up, see what they can learn. But I think these guys already know everything there is to know. It's going to be more about the execution, Corey. You mentioned, staying out of the trouble. If you qualify well, you're ahead of the trouble. It's going to be like a plate race. If you put your car in a good position and you're really vigilant, you've got good spatial awareness, you know where everybody is, that's going to be a huge advantage. It's not so much knowing how to drive the track, it's knowing how to drive around everybody else. So, going to be interesting. And I remember back in the day, Corey, you would call races like that, I think, deceptively boring. For the driver, they're wide open, they're on the wheel, but there's so much going on around them that they almost have to force themselves to stay focused. Yeah,
I think intensely boring. That's what I say at the plate tracks. And it might be a little bit more difficult to pull that one off here today, based on how narrow this track is comparatively. But certainly there may be times where you are just flat stuck. Two people who will not be stuck here today are the guys who are headed back to their haulers, and it will be Lane Doyle and Gary Wattersworth. Dorothy, Lane, and Gary, they won't be in Kansas anymore. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. If you're on the YouTube and Facebook side of things, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, have some fun with us in the chat here. Looking to get 1,700 subscribers on YouTube. Need a little bit of help from you if you have not already done so. And if you're watching on Twitch, consider following and liking and subscribing on Twitch. You can catch the Truck Series and Pro Series there. You can get your custom emotes, earn double points as a subscriber, which you can redeem for free merch in due course. $5 a month will support the series if you do subscribe there on the Twitch side of things here. And we're just waiting any second now. I have a feeling that they're going to bump this warm-up session off. They usually do kind of kill the last minute, but maybe we'll get some practice here, and maybe someone will get some green flag practice here, Andre. Green flag pit stops at Kansas. These mile and a halves do tend to be tricky if you do need to peel off under green.
Yeah, they do. Kansas is a pretty wide open entry, which can be a blessing and a curse. A lot of pavement down there, so it's not necessarily that hard to get down to pit road. But all that pavement they got down there kind of leads you to want to dive it in there really deep and really abuse the pit road speed limit. And I myself have done that quite a few times here. And also the transition from the banking down to that pavement on the apron is a little bit abrupt here with the progressive banking, the way these corners are. So a little bit of practice goes a long way, just making sure you know what to expect, you know what speed to get down to, where your brake marker is. It is a good piece of knowledge to have, even if you don't need it. You never know if you're going to get green flag pit stops or not, but if you do, you want it in your back pocket. 38 seconds remaining. There's some practice for you, Corey. Maybe some well-needed practice by the looks of it.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like we are just waiting on one driver who had to exit the session momentarily, trying to wait for him to rejoin things here. So in about 20 seconds time, we will be heading down to our grid. And again, our grid, as always, is going to be brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you are looking for a new home, a large or a small home, a new shed or triple crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes, proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get that information further. But as that does tick over, we are going to head down trackside and give you that Central Mobile Home / PTR TV starting lineup here from the Kansas Speedway. Jonathan Evans getting that pole with a 30.643 in his Toyota Tundra. Trey Edson, one of his best starting spots of the season, going to be in the second spot. Third, we'll find Matthew Batby. He is Captain Blinky. Hopefully tonight things have patched together for him. And David Wise had a great start for him in the fourth spot. Fifth, we'll find the 84 of Jake Fisher, and then Jake Nichols, a row of the Jakes in row number 3. Kenny Brady in 7th. Jordan Kuntz going to be in 8th. And rounding out our top 10 is our Hendry County truck, Mr. Travis Beckner. And then Seth Noel, he's in the top 5 in points. He's going to roll off 10th.
And looking back to P11, Brian Mercurio is going to be in that number 82 machine. And to his outside, you got Jeremy Miller in the 30. P13 belongs to Timmy, I'm going to say Pacioli.
There you go. Look at you.
I got it right. There we go. Philip Groner going to be P14. 15th going to go to Garrett Conrath, and then his outside, Ricky Springer in the 51. He's got that drive-through penalty, so he will not be there long. Tanner Love in the 71, going to be P17. Jalen Handcamp going to be 18th. And 19 and 20 going to go to Ryan Andrew and Forrest Smith, respectively.
And then 21st, we'll find Nico Servideo. Josh Ballier, he is also headed arrears. Justin Anasogak, 23rd. Preston Pardis, you'll recognize him from the real world. He is in 24th. Peyton Howell, he is a competitive driver, top in the points in that top 10. He is in 25th. Connor Horn, he has had so much bad luck in recent weeks, even though he's had fast trucks. Can the curse break today from 26th? Mason Kane hasn't had much luck since his Daytona win. Maybe he'll turn that around here today. Jeremy Brown in 28th. Garrett Grant 29th, and Bryce Senesac in 30th. We're going to let the rest scroll by because with the DNQs, the EOLs, and all the other acronyms that remind you of a corporate job here, these usually aren't overly accurate, but just gives you a picture of some of these other drivers here.
And as we round out the rest of the field, there was a couple of go-homers. I was correct. The DNQ drivers are going to be Lane Doyle in the 47 and Gary Waterworth in the 12, not making the field. Also, I should point out the number 67 machine had some technical difficulties. I believe they got back in the session. I don't know if anybody can confirm, but they were out of the session, expected to rejoin.
Yeah.
And now we are finally out on the way pacing.
Yeah,
he did get back in. Good to see him.
That's Mr. Jalen Handcamp there, someone who has been having some better runs as of late. We should, assuming admin likes us, get 2 pace laps here, and that will facilitate with all these EOLs and guys getting in their respective starting positions. So today's race, as I do have to quickly update the graphic, I just got back from Florida, so I'm a little bit behind on my stuff, but we have, barring that I updated this correctly, which indeed I did, 120 laps, no stages, as we never have here in area. Straightforward race. 4 sets of Goodyears with a full fuel load. Again, our fixed setups and the green-white checkers are there if we need them. Using our always 100% accurate Andre knowledge of fuel runs here, as I guess Matthew Batby's connection still is a little bit rough. I'm going to say around 60 laps, 55, 60 laps on fuel, but I feel like they're going to want the tires before that Sunoco race fuel runs out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I have seen at Kansas on iRacing where if it stays green, you get differing strategies. Some drivers going to come down pit road for the extra set of tires. They try to make that time up before the race ends using those fresh tires. Some drivers like to stay out. They want to cut out a pit stop entirely, and they just try to maintain whatever pace they can on those old tires. And Honestly, I've seen it work out both ways. I've seen people win on either strategy. So just one of the reasons this place is so beloved, and that's all assuming this stays green, which we're hoping it does, obviously. But the strategy is ever changing, right? We can sit here, we can talk about what they're thinking about doing and what their fuel mileage is, but in motorsports, you really can't plan past the next 100 feet or so. So it's going to have to be on the fly. Hopefully these guys got some good heads up on their pit boxes, their war boxes, and they know exactly what they're going to be doing and where they need to go. But lights are out on the pace car, rolling through 3 and 4. The 26 going to be leading the pack, taking that hard left turn. Barney's got the green flag in hand, and for 120 laps here at Kansas, the Area Truck Series is underway.
Now we are racing here at the Kansas Speedway. On the loud pedal is that number 26 of Jonathan Evans. Now which lane is going to persevere? We're going to have some issues right off the get-goes because that 89 is going to be blinking. That's going to affect the momentum that inside lane will have, but they'll muster it up. We'll go 2-3 wide as everybody gets up to full song heading down the back straightaway.
And they are going to be 3 and 4 wide throughout the field. Very clean thus far. Everybody has been able to navigate this track for at least 3/4 of a lap, which is great to see. Well, okay, commentators curse. 29 going to go for a bit of a ride, but I believe he should be able to get that thing gathered up. He'll lose some time, but no caution. We stay green. Dialing up a quick replay to see if he maybe had a little bit of help there, maybe got loose on his own. You can see he was in the sucker hole, right in that middle groove, not the place you want to be. And
Kenny Brady
might add a little help there, but it's tough to really call that anything but a racing situation. It was so tight, so many cars around. A little bit of a nudge is going to happen somewhere in the field. It's a shame he lost that time, but for the lead on the outside, the 73 Jake Nichols getting a huge run, courtesy of a draft partner behind, but it's not quite going to be enough. And this is where we're going to see. Oh boy, we're going to see yellow flag. That's what we'll see.
Lee Norton. You can't park there. I don't know where that meme ever started from, but I know it's a thing. I'm not hip, as I think we all know at this point. But our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay will entail to us what has happened here. Watch that pink and white truck to the top. Alex Chilcutt in the middle. We're 4 wide, blending off the apron. Travis Beckner. Admin's going to have a fun time on that one, and I'm glad I'm not them. Because ultimately we were 3 wide, and then coming off the flat, Andre, you know, a lot of drivers will use that apron on the front stretch, and there's no rule saying that you have to give a guy space when he blends back up, but inevitably you do, and when you're 3 wide, there's not much space for it.
Right, and that's why that rule exists at Daytona, Talladega. You got the yellow line rule because you certainly don't want somebody barreling into the corner on the flat beneath the banking, and at some point they're going to have to merge back up, which causes just as much chaos. So it's better for the racing product overall if they just kind of stay on the racing surface. And with Kansas, it's not as drastic. You're not going as fast. The difference in banking isn't quite as high, but you still need to get back to the racing surface. And if there's somebody in your way, you've really only got 2 options. Either let off the throttle and wait for an opening and hope that it works out, or you get back on the track and just pray that nobody's in your way. And he was so far up the field. I mean, he was towards the front of the pack. He really didn't have much of a choice. I mean, he made his bed there, Corey. He was on the bottom of the track. If he lifted, he would have went probably 20 positions down before he was able to blend. So he kind of had to make that move, but ultimately caused some chaos as we do have some takers down pit road, getting a splash of gas. I'd have to imagine, Corey, that this means they were kind of close on fuel, and maybe they're just taking it a little bit now so they're a little bit more comfortable making it on one.
Yeah, because I remember at Chicago, which was 2 weeks ago, we had some guys try to, you get that perfect caution, which if 60 laps is a stretch, there's a chance, I guess, if you pit now, you can do it on one stop right around halfway. Of course, we're not going to have any stage or automatic cautions. So, always putting yourself on the better side of the coin there, or so you'd like to think. Someone who that caution did highly benefit was Ricky Springer in that number 51. Remember, he was a drive-through penalty recipient. Therefore, he was probably on the verge of going a lap down, and that would allow him to catch back up here. But we're going to get doubled up, stacked up here, ready to go back. Green flag racing. And again, Matthew Batby still having his connectivity issues on the bottom. And at a track like this, Andre, where runs are so important here on these restarts, you know, it's almost like Daytona Talladega getting the draft runs off the jump. When you can't trust the guy in front of you, certainly is going to hurt things for you.
Yeah, it definitely will. You want to make sure they get a good start so that you yourself can get a good start. And it's such a tough track, and restarts do not help matters. If they stay green, they get a little bit of separation. It gets easier as time goes on, but the more restarts we have, the more of a chance they have to be bunched up, to be racing 2, 3, 4 wide. And it was that 4 wide corner entry that brought the caution out in the first place, which we hopefully want to avoid going forward. But overall, these drivers are just in a tough place, Corey. It's a crazy racetrack. And
Admin given the call on that last caution between the 60 and the 55, but fault is to be determined. So as we said, it's a tough one to call. He didn't make the call himself yet, so it shows that one's going to have to take a little bit more analyzing there. But the green flag will be back in the air through the Geico restart zone, back up to speed. Great jump by the 26. Will that be to his benefit or his detriment? I guess we'll find out, as I do see some guys mid-pack trying to test the 3 wide already. Momentum fully builds up. We'll come down the back straightaway and we'll see where the runs take us.
That we will. It's going to be 2 wide for the most part throughout the field, and then towards the tail end, they fan out to 3 wide. Then we get to the corner, and this is where chaos breaks out. The cars taking their optimal grooves. It's one of the tracks where you can run bottom, high, middle, wherever you want to go. So they do tend to fan out. And just like before, we got cars all the way down on the apron, cutting the track short, but they are able to get back and resurface towards the banking. Going on board now with Garrett Conrath in the 49, and this is the view from that 49. This is what I mean when I say you have to have spatial awareness. It is so tough, Corey. Cars high, cars low, cars behind you. You are in a box at 200 miles an hour darn near at the end of the straightaway. Not an enviable position to be in, but so far they're navigating it with grace.
And our points leader was just in front of him, Mr. Brian Mercurio there, who didn't qualify where he'd like to in the Hornet's Nest here, but trying to work his way through in that bright orange and yellow Rebel Rabbit Seltzer. I don't know why I always seem to forget that, but we have a battle for the lead. We got Batby, whose connection has stabilized out, allowing him to make the run. He's going to use that old school Kansas preferred lane where back in the day you had to rip the fence here. Now we have options. Using the bottom is Evans. That costs him the momentum on corner exit. Crossover move, Batby down to the inside. Now can he slide it on up and clear? He can. He's going to rip the bottom though, but will the 26 have enough momentum for a crossover? I don't think so.
No, he got way out there. I can't believe the run that Batby got. He put 3 car lengths on him, and now Evans is going to strike back. He's got the slipstream. He's got a good run. It's going to bring him within a car length, but that's not close enough for striking distance, so he's got to settle in line. We got a few cars on that high line trying to build up momentum. The 73 of Jake Nichols, the 99 of Jordan Coots, and they are really getting a little bit of a side draft, I think, here on that 26, bringing themselves closer to the leaders. And the bottom groove is going to save tires, Corey. It's going to be easier on the equipment, but I think the top groove is going to be faster overall. So they've give and take, choose what you value right now. And I think what we're going to see is a lot of these guys, once they get the lead, once they get that position, just like the 89 of Batby, they're going to get down to the bottom. They're going to stay there, save their tires if they can,
Whoa.
Throw a block if they need to here or there. Big weave out of that 73, moving to the high lane, trying to get side by side. The revolving door for the lead is still spinning, Corey.
And the 89 is going to slide her up the track, and that's going to give the 73 a whale, not a dolphin of a run, a whale of a run down the back straightaway. And then I think you're going to see the old Kansas slider. He's going to dive it on in. No, he's not. He's going to drive it in middle. That'll save him some momentum. He'll not lose as much on corner exit, but Bappy's still going to have a run. He's going to go down to the flat, and Jordan Kuhn's going to run up to the top of the track. And we'll see if that has any aerodynamic advantage. Batby going to drive it on down. Kansas slider engaged. Will he slider on up? The answer is yes, and here comes another crossover.
Yeah, they are really going back and forth. This is a great battle for the lead. showing off the speed differential between the two lanes. And it seems to me, Corey, like using that high lane and then driving down the banking before the straightaway is the preferred line. That's where you're going to get the huge runs, just like what Batby just did, and try to get the lead back. Got a couple of lap cars coming up. They're going to be a part of this battle sooner rather than later. These are two of the cars involved in that caution you just saw a few laps ago. Now, the best thing they can do is be predictable. They're going to get down to the bottom of the straightaway, best place they can be. Good job by those back markers there with the wounded horses, but the leader's doing a good job as well getting around them. Kind of single filed them out, and I'll tell you what, that was a bit of a saving grace for the 73. Nobody behind him was able to use any other lanes to get an advantage. They had to kind of tuck in behind him there and use him as a pick, so he's safe for one more lap. But I'll tell you what, that 99 of Jordan Kuntz is really picking up pace here. He's worked his way through the field, and now he is challenging for that lead to ride along with Timmy there on that bottom grid. But I think somebody might have pinged off the wall back there. They got it up, but there's a wall scrape as well.
Yeah, and that's what this is kind of turning into old school Kansas here, where as the tires wear out, depending how this set drives, which I believe is a little bit more on the tight side of things, so that makes that wall line more advantageous, keeps the momentum up. But of course, you have the risk versus reward. If you run the top of the track, you risk scraping that safer barrier there, and if somebody's right on your rear, could cause some issues. And I saw a white and a red truck there. Now I see a 15 truck go around. That's Forrest Smith all the way down to the flat. Connor Horn, again, he can't catch a break. He might be able to catch COVID or a flu, but he can't catch a break here in any of these races lately. Let's see what happened on replay. Oh, so that's the 05 stuck in the fence. Exactly what I was talking about. Preston Pardis. And I don't see how Connor Horn got in that, but we'll just get about one or two more brief looks at this. Mainly because I just like when I'm right about something, and it's easy to hit the wall, and then right on cue, he's in the wall.
Yeah, and it's honestly, I'm not even sure there was any contact that got that 15 starting to spin. I think he was a little bit loose to begin with, and then contact was made. And Corey, am I seeing things, or did they add moderate blowover physics to these trucks? Because it looked like that 15 was trying to get up in the air a couple times while it was becoming a Beyblade.
Okay. It wasn't in the release notes, but neither was 3D Grass at the Nordschleife, and it's there. So maybe, just maybe here. But either way, pit stops here, lap 17 for the majority, if not all of the field, coming down this time by, and we're with 4 sets of good years on the wall. Do you want to put one on? I'll probably say the answer is yes now, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we have a little bit of a mixed bag on the strategy side.
Yeah, it would not surprise me. We'll keep an eye on the jack stands and just kind of get a general idea what these drivers are going to do. I'm seeing a lot of right sides go up. Again, I believe they had 4 sets behind the wall, so that is more than enough to make it through the race, but not if you're frivolous with them. So I'm seeing a lot of left sides go up as well. So a few drivers taking 4, but a couple drivers taking 2, I noticed, and that is going to be a huge advantage as Casey Lakatos stayed out, I believe.
Yeah, he does his normal thing. He always drives through the pits. I don't know if it's just because he wants a clear pit road, if he wants the TV time, because of course he has the channel on his hood. But he usually always does this here, so I expect him to pit, but maybe he won't. Maybe he's going for the track position. I guess we'll find out in a matter of moments. He doesn't appear to be pitting, so maybe Casey, he's pulling for that track position card. So as he comes off of 4, squeak, squeak, squeak. No, he's staying on the track. Casey's going for the W. He wants the win. But I do want to get some of our shout-outs underway here today. And, that's actually been updated here. Our replays have been brought to you by Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at Hendry County. You can join them Saturday, May 24th if you're watching us live. See the $1,000 to win street stocks, Crusoe late models, and more. Tickets are $20 for adults, kids age 5 and under get in free, and you can bring your family to the track with a pack of 4 tickets for $25. Racing at the southernmost dirt track in America in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. You can go to hendrycounty.com and most likely see Mr. Travis Beckner waving the flag there in that number 28 truck. He is currently running in a position that they're of the 28th spot Mr. Travis is, but still a lot of time to be had in this event.
Yeah, we're only going to be about 20 laps in when we take this green flag, so 100 laps remaining, plenty of time to get things sorted out. But so far, a lot of contenders still in it. I'm keeping my eye on that 99. Jordan Kuntz looks like he's got a lot of pace. He's just kind of being patient. Looks like he's being real picky about the opportunities he has to make moves, and sometimes that's what it takes, being smart about it. Other than that, I mean, the 73, a lot of these front runners showing that they have what it takes to take the lead. Although anybody who's taken the lead has given it back up at some point, it's tough to keep. But green flag back out underway. That number 50 gets a great jump on the outside. No wheel spin from Casey Ricados. He is going to lead them down into turn one. But on those older tires, Corey, not a lot you can do. You can see right to that third lane he goes, losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 positions. Not an enviable situation as he is stuck on that high line. Contact into the wall.
Oh no,
Pacioli!
What's our chat is not going to be happy about that, because What's on Tap is one of our best viewers here on the channel. And Pacioli, I don't see too much damage to that automobile. But let's see what happened here. 80, actually, he may have stemmed that one, actually, so can't be too bad at us about that one. Can't be commentator's curse because we weren't talking about it, but let's get one more perspective. I mean, of course, Ricados in it, so naturally you'd want to blame him because he had the older tires here, but watch that black and white truck in the middle, that blue truck to the right side of the screen. Yeah, he just door slammed him up. I think he didn't even know he was there.
And you know, honestly, he might not have. Sometimes it's really easy to miss these things. If the iRacing spotter is confused and it's just a little bit delayed, it's obviously a blunder. It's a mistake. I'm not saying he didn't make a mistake, but it's an easy one to make, and I can't be too harsh about it. And the 50, it's a shame for him, but it's one of those situations you're never really going to gain a lot. You know, everybody behind you takes tires. You're up there on old ones. It's a tough situation to be in, and there's really not a lot that you can do with it, right? You can kind of get to that outside groove or to the bottom and just hope that they work their way around you. And the thing is, there's a lot of trucks in this race, and there's a lot of aggression, so he put himself in a risky situation. Unfortunately, had to pay the debt.
Yeah, certainly the case. Timmy did go a lap down, but again, just looking at that truck aesthetically here, doesn't appear too bad. I could see some crinkle on that right side, but he did lose a lap, but I have a feeling here he'll probably get a free pass at some juncture in the last next 80, just under 100 laps that we have left. But Jake Nichols has the lead right now, and Kuntz, Fisher, Mercurio up to 4th, Jonathan Evans back to 5th after he led some laps here, so things starting to shake on up here. Speaking of shaking up, actually hot sauce and shaking up, I guess you technically have to shake the bottle, so that I will call that a segue. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. You can try the Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. You can follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series, see which driver will take home that $100 prize. They're on Monday nights on the IDK Player YouTube channel, but we are on 1 to green. Everybody's going to get ready to go, and we'll try this one more again.
And an update on the 86. We're getting word in our ear that he had about 9 minutes of damage. So not terminal, but also not ideal. I would expect him to be back out on track at some point, but at this point it'll be a salvage job, just trying to maybe overtake any drivers who later DNF in the race, or capitalize on points where we can. But unfortunate way for his night to go. There's going to be winners and there's going to be losers in pack racing, Corey, and sometimes Lady Luck just does not smile upon you.
Yeah, specifically the damage model side of things here. Like, again, we're not someone who, paints iRacing like the perfect little kid it is. The damage model is a lot better, but I didn't see 9 minutes of damage out of that unless it was under the hood, but certainly the aesthetics, that is quite surprising. So hopefully he can get that thing up to song, or at least he can kind of compete in the draft here. But let's get ready for a restart. Nichols and Kuntz going to head into that Geico / Echo Park / insert sponsor here, Restart Zone. And very late in the box is everybody here. This is going to be a really, really bunched up battle in the Turner number one. Turner number one.
Turner Classic Movies down into turn one. The number 73 going to take the lead. And they're going to be side by side for P2. That 99 of Jordan Kuntz, Jake Fisher in the 84. Now we're going to look to maybe 3 wide back there in row 3. Remember that 26 machine, John Evans, he's led quite a few laps tonight. Got shuffled back, and unfortunately, now he is going to have to make up some room there. But speaking of room, Kenny Brady is going to make room in that 78. He's able to stick his nose there in the high line and pick up a position maybe and see if he can get it to work. A lot of cars opting for either lane. A couple of drivers in the middle groove, not where you want to be, but they're making it work nonetheless for the time being. Big run on the top from Jordan Kuntz in the 99. 84 going to duck it down low. So far, Jake Nichols in the 73 able to maintain his lead. It's been a revolving door thus far, but if somebody can just get out and break away, it'll be a big surprise because the draft is a huge deal here.
Yeah, exactly like that. As I always say, Alicia Keys mode. Sometimes you got to go into Kelly Clarkson mode, try to break away there, but coming down to the inside lane, Jonathan Evans down there, and I think is that the 89 of Batby looking for a 3 wide down to the inside. I see another Hendry County truck to the inside as well behind him there. Who is that all the way off yonder? That's Garrett Conrath trying to work his way in the field. He is down in a 3 wide jungle of sorts here, and this is the risky Hornets nest. Look at them, 3 by 3. I see Evans in the middle of 3 wide, or I see Seth Noel, I see Philip Groner. These are all guys who are highly competitive in the middle of this jungle here. And it's always the risk versus reward. Again, 100 some odd laps to go in this race, 90 something to be specific. But you can't win it if you ain't in it. And this is a high risk situation to be in this early in the race.
It is a high-risk situation. I am going to absolutely derail any flow we had here. I want to point out the spec map on that number 8 car under the lights looks absolutely phenomenal. I've noticed it shining under those stadium lights a couple times back there further in the field. The red really popping off that car. Hint of metallic. Look at that. That is beautiful. What a paint scheme that is. One of the best looking trucks I've seen in quite a while. A lot of good paint schemes in the field, though. Not to take away from anybody else. Back to the race, though. As I completely get sidetracked by pretty colors and shiny things. You can dangle some keys in front of my face. Speaking of shiny things, Corey, the lights on the fence are shiny. They're yellow because the caution has come out. And another, you mentioned he's had some bad luck, Corey. Is this par for the course?
And it's the same style of incident, too. He wasn't directly in it, but he was a subsidiary of it. Big word for me there. Garrett Grant in the wall. 15, Forrest Smith. He got loose. Oh, so actually, no, he just took the safe route there. 1X wasn't an incident here. It's not a point of concern here, but yeah, that Garrett Grant, I believe, was one that hit the wall. And look at the 15 of Forrest here. He just broke a hard left. There goes the 40 of Doug DeNice. He was an innocent bystander in that. And a double whammy there for Forrest. But yeah, Casey just took the safe route there and made the landscaper's job that much easier and or more difficult, depending on how you want to look at it here. But back to live footage here, and lap number 30 on the board. 25% distance here in today's race. Can't imagine you'll want to put another set of Goodyears on it, but some guys may choose to, top off the fuel cell just for proactive purposes.
Yeah, being proactive, topping off, or maybe even just for handling. These cars do handle differently with a full fuel cell versus a empty fuel cell. The weight does matter, and maybe some of these guys prefer the way it feels on a full tank. As for that last incident, the admins have deemed the 5 and 05 had a net code incident that led to a stack up. That is the call for the time being. A few drivers coming down pit road getting that topped off, but the 73, I don't blame him, Corey. He said, look, I'm sitting on the throne. I got the top spot. There is no reason to give this up. I got relatively fresh tires. Track position seems to be pretty paramount here.
Yeah, it is, and I'm just kind of going through some other channels here that we have of information that is available to us. And this one of the drivers says, this is going to be a bleep show. He proactively said that, and then said we should have ran Milwaukee instead. So I think some guys just didn't really want to do a pseudo plate race here today. So stinks to be them, because that's what we did. But either way, Milwaukee is a fun track here. Certainly a completely different ball game here. But speaking of different ball games, next week will be the All-Star race here for area. We will be covering that, and that does entail all three divisions. Both. You can't have three divisions in both, because both grammatically only means two things. But it includes the Cup, Truck, and Area Pro Series. All those different people that will be eligible for the All-Star race airing right here on PTR TV next week. We'll give you those details. That'll be some fun. And then only 2 more races in the regular season for these guys. And I know, Andre, you don't get to follow them too much, but you know NASCAR systems and playoffs. And if I told you had 2 races to end your regular season, and it was Coda and Talladega, I'd want to get my good run in today, because you can't trust a road course at a super speedway to end out the regular season.
No, you absolutely cannot. That is going to be stressful for the drivers. I'm glad I'm in the booth and watching on TV rather than being behind the wheel, because that is going to be something. But I also do want to point out the number 85 involved in that last incident. It has blown an engine as he got to pit road, so I don't know if he made it to his pit stall or if he had to take a tow there, but that is pretty much going to be his day done. Unfortunately, Kansas claims another one. The rest of them, well, they are going to carry on our wayward son. The 73 going to take that bottom groove once again. The 84, Jake Fisher, as close to the front of the grid as he's been all night, looking to challenge on that high side. Pace car going to make that left-hand turn. Hopefully he's not going to blow his engine. We're probably going to be needing him again at some point or another, but the green flag out once more, and we are going to sail it down into turn 1. What a jump that was, Corey. That might be the restart of the night for the leader, getting 4 truck lengths, and then we're going to go 3 wide. That number 8 machine, maybe the spec map giving him some speed, because boy, oh boy, he's going to drive right past him on the bottom, pick up 2 positions, almost 3 in a single turn. And what a power play it is. But second place, Brian Mercurio in the 82. He is going to try to throw a bit of a block there, maintain his position. So the leader's going to get really tight there, Corey, and they're going to get tighter and tighter as the tires wear.
Yeah, and look at, he's going to go up the track here, getting that ideal corner entry, and that just opens the door for Jake Fisher in the 84 to do the diver. And now can Fisher go get enough of a run? No, he cannot. He probably pulled door to door with the leader, but just the lack of momentum on the inside will put him back from now the first spot, second, third, now fighting with Andrew down to the flat. If I was the 84, I may want to pull up to the gap that is now there. But now Seth Noel in that 1, he's going to fill in that gap. Philip Groner there. 84 now goes right to the top of the track, and now he goes from the bottom of 3 wide to the top of 3 wide here. Entering the corner, who is that to the bottom? That's Noel, and Kenny Brady trying to get some spots back as the 84 in the fence.
He got in the fence, but he's able to keep it under control. Just lost a little bit of momentum. That did break up the field a bit, so they're going to be a bit of a 3-car breakaway. Nichols, Mercurio, and Ryan Andrew in that number 8. It's not going to be a breakaway for very long. These cars behind are still in drafting distance, so they're going to get there in no time. 3 wide further back in the pack. These guys are just not sparing an inch. They are making moves when they are available. And they're not thinking too hard about whether or not they want to. They see that door open, they step through. And sometimes that's what it takes. I mean, you can't blame these guys for being optimistic here, Corey, because if you're in the mid-pack, that is where the incidents are going to be. You know you're in the danger zone. That's a little bit dangerous. 51 into the wall, causing a bit of an accordion effect there.
Oh,
but you want to make the passes. You want to get further up the grid so you can get out of these situations.
Ryan Swan.
Hustling and bustling.
Ryan Swan, just you're talking about power plays. Well, that was definitely a check into the boards there from the 20 into the 51, or Ricky Springer. Remember Springer trying to recover from that drive-through penalty to start the race, but luckily that was able to evade any further issues there. As he falls back, Jordan Kuntz there. You see Alex Chilcutt, he was in the shot. He was in that first caution of the race, and Again, they're still going hot and heavy. Matthew Batby, remember, he started third, but he's been having his connectivity issues. Peyton Howell, 52. He needs to get up there. He needs to preserve his point standings, but doing that from the 19th, 20th position surely ain't going to pay too many favors for him.
No, that it will not. They are getting down to about two
still
wide
contact.
For the most part.
Ryan
more
Swan.
Contact. It seems like that car is getting away from him a little bit there. Again, fixed setups. Everybody's dealing with the same conditions, but damage and bending the mechanical components here can affect handling, and it does accumulate, so it could be that he got into the wall there. The 26 continuing to drop through the field. The 13 just a little bit off pace on the high line. And some heads-up driving by the 31, Mason Kane, able to get out of the throttle and avoid any sort of incident there. Number 20 way down to that white line as they continue that stack up above him. He saw them checking up. He saw the issues up there. He said, nope, I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to get ahead of this. And that he did. Ryan Swan able to pick up yet another one on the board as we are finally, Corey, starting to get a little bit single filed out, getting a little bit of separation. How big of a sigh of relief do you think some of these drivers are taking right now?
Well, I think it's a sigh of relief, but it's also kind of a are you happy with where you ended up kind of situation, because now passing comes at a premium here. Trey Edson here, looking at him in that 19, he started up front, relegated back to the 9th spot. But now that kind of the high lane is becoming, as they call OP, it is the OP lane, it's the overpowering lane. Are you happy with where you ended up? If you're Brian Mercurio, I'm going to say yes. If you're Ryan Andrew, I'm going to say yes. But if you're a Seth Noel or a Kenny Brady, a Jake Fisher, namely, who lost a bunch of spots during that sequence, he's stuck back in 8th now, maybe with a little bit of damage potentially, and an exponentially harder time making passes.
Yeah, it does get more difficult as time goes by. This is a track, though, where even on worn tires, if you get a good enough run into the corner, you can kind of dive to the bottom and throw sliders on people if it gets to that point. But we're only on lap 42 out of 120. There's a lot of race left to run, so I don't think you're going to see a lot of these guys doing that quite yet. Battling it out for 3rd place, the number 8 in that top lane, but the 29 just making that bottom work. I mean, he just blew by the number 8. He's going to get side by side. Does he have fresh tires? Yes, he does. 12 laps on that set versus 25. That is an eternity in Goodyear years. So he is going to be blowing by.
Goodyear's cubed there, I suppose. And just look at the stopwatch. Even while making these passes, his last lap was 0.3 of a second faster than the majority of the field, and Ryan Swan is out there running Mach 26 right there with a 7-second lap. That is just connectivity issues there that should even out. But new leader, that 29 of David Weishart, doing some pretty impressive things here. Again, pulling that alt tire strat there off of Low Racing, Slaughter Sim Racing, Season 1 Cup champion. I have known David Weishart for, I'd say, the better part of 8 or 9 years, racing with him in a series called the Rivalry Racing League. We covered that in 2017, 2018 here on the channel. He's raced with me in a Skippy League, so I've known David Weishart for quite some time. Fun seeing him doing well here. And if this race does air out, Andre, and it's a big if, it turns into a situation where everybody has plenty of tires here today. And if you don't take them, they sit there and waste. But if you do take them and you still have enough, maybe he has one last set than everybody else. But if they don't need it, he just might have just set himself up for the end of the race.
And that's what he's banking on, right? He's banking on the staying green. One more potential stop till the end. He'll have a set of tires waiting for him. And in the meantime, he can just drive away with these slightly better Goodyears, and it'll be a huge advantage now. The wrench in the plan will be if we do get a yellow flag later in the race, especially right at the very end. Let's say less than 15 to go, because everybody else is going to take tires. He may not have that set available to him at that point. So it's kind of cashing in your chips early and letting it ride. Hope that it works out. But speaking of hoping that it works out, this number 8 continuing to drop positions. He was as far up as 3rd. Now fighting for position with the number 20, doing what he can. Ryan Swan going to take that position and duck down in front of him. Almost thought there was going to be contact in that camera angle, but it was a deceptive angle. I don't know if he's just saving the equipment. Maybe those tires starting to give up on him. I'm not sure, but the pace fading away as we have another side-by-side battle here. The number 11 on the bottom, that is going to be Philip Groner, trying to take a position away from Brian Mercurio, and it looks like he is nearly going to get clear, not quite enough. Cuts it as short as he can, but the 82 staying on the quarter panel. That means they are going to go through this corner side by side. Jake Nichols not far up the road. Solo second place for that 73. Do want to point out Ryan Swan, Justin Anasogak. I'm not
you wouldn't have thought that was said phonetically, but it actually is, yes.
The one name that is phonetic, yes. So he's on the same strategy as David Weishart, who's leading this race. So keep an eye on those two cars to pick up more positions.
Yeah, exactly that here as we are nearing the halfway point, but not quite there. And just to give a shout out to other partners we have, you can, if you are looking for something to listen to on the way to work, or if you're at work and just need something to kind of kill the time, consider signing on and subscribing and listening to the High Banks podcast. Two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Episode 228 includes Mr. Jacob Bell, our league owner here, and there are new episodes ever since, but you can check that out, the High Banks podcast, on the Spotify platform here. And just going through the field, finding some battles here as things are spreading out. They're not spreading out here. AJ Stravato in that 13. Peyton Howell trying to work his way up, as is Travis Beckner in the 28. 3 wide down to 2 off the corner. Mason Kane on that inside lane, feeling like the Lone Ranger, trying to make that inside lane work, and now he's going to go to the outside. Travis Beckner going to go to the inside. Can he clear off of 4? Answer is no. 13 kisses the wall. Oh, and then, Andre, that's something that we haven't talked about. We've talked about guys going to the apron, but something that happens quite frequently is if you are the guy on the outside and you expect the guy to go down to the apron and he doesn't, that's been causing some pancake moments on the front stretch.
It definitely has. You can call the front stretch of Denny's with all the pancake moments we've seen. But in the meantime, they are kind of sorting it out. A lot of single file thus far. But the 82, I like what I'm seeing out of him. He was really committed to the bottom. When everybody else was running the top, he was down low, studying the art of the apron, saving the tire. And now that is working out for him in this long run, as he seems to have just a little bit more pace than that 73. And that's what's going to happen, right? When you run the bottom lane, you're going to give up time early in the run, and you're going to be slower than everybody else. But if it stays green and you get lucky, well, those tires are going to be just a little bit fresher, and you're going to save a little bit of rubber, and it will pay dividends in the long run. So he's going to move up into what looks to be P2. But I'll tell you what, he's got a ways to go before he finds anybody else up the road, because David Weishart, on those fresher tires by something to the tune of about 12 laps.
Oh, never mind.
Well, I was going to say he's got a 1.6 second lead. Now he's got nothing. As the 35 is around, it looks like somebody else in the upside.
Benny Ware, Josh Ballier, Wounded Warrior. Unfortunately, he is acting as his sponsor right now. Unfortunately. Oh my goodness. I got a brief of this on the replay, and wait till you see it live, Mr. Andre. Connor Horn.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, let's go one Mogan here on that replay of sorts if we can. And look on the left side of your screen. That's where the gaggle is. 42 and the 35 kind of fighting for the same piece of real estate there. And a whole bunch of something there.
Huge snap overcorrect kind of brought him back up into traffic, and that is something you don't see as often in the truck series. You don't see that snap overcorrect quite as often. That's usually a Cup Series thing because of that diffuser they've added. But the 42 able to make one heck of a save. That's a Ricky Rudd great save of the race award, in my opinion. Able to keep that thing going, but not so lucky for the drivers behind. They are going to come down pit road.
Can we give the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race award, though, to somebody who's involved in the incident creation? Does that nullify it at all?
Well,
we didn't make rules, but I suppose...
I mean, we just decided that Pete Rose could be in the Hall of Fame for baseball, so anything goes.
I mean, I'm all for that. but I mean, that's a podcast topic. We don't have a podcast. We talk about it frequently. I used to have one here on the channel. It was called The Racer's Mind, but we don't have that anymore. But I guess it wouldn't be that if we couldn't talk about baseball on The Racer's Mind. But either way, this is another caution. We are going to step aside here just for a one-off break here, and we will be back with you guys for the restart. So please stay with us. And we're back here on PTR TV for 120 laps of the Kansas Speedway for the Area Truck Series after another caution. We're going to play the caution game later in the race, so we have not tallied the number. But either way, David Weishart, via the strategy call from a subsequent caution, has retained the lead through the pit stop cycle, and he'll keep the lead, and he'll get through that restart zone, get on the loud pedal with a jump. Green flag back in the air, and the Kansas shuffle as we flail off into turn number 1.
Yeah, they're going to be 3, then 2 wide behind. Weishart still leading the way for the time being. Nichols P2. All of that ground Mercurio made up is going to be taken away, falling back to P4 now. Seth Noel going to move up to P3 in that number 1 truck, rocking that bottom groove. And on the high line, 3 wide, that's 78, trying to sling it around, see if he can get a good run here. He's got the pace, but it's not quite going to be enough, so they're going to go down into this corner, still side by side. A big shot, actually, from Mercurio to the back bumper of Nichols. Looked a little bit sketchy, but it gave him a good run into the corner. Let's see if he can use it.
Yeah, we'll see if he can use it indeed. Coming down the back straightaway into corner number 3. You can see them flailing out here, and I saw both the 73 and the 82 both decide to go to the bottom at the same time, and it's going to surely work out more for the number 73 because he's going to take the lead preliminarily here entering corner number 1, but Weishart's not going down without a battle here using that outside lane. Kenny Brady, he is still new to the league, but he has been one to watch out for in every event, and clearly now a top 5 driver. Mercurio looks like he's left out to the inside.
Well, and that is where he's preferred to be so far tonight. It seems like he likes that bottom groove, he likes playing it a little bit conservative, so probably not an uncomfortable situation for him. He's probably right at home. With the 78 trying to get a position in the meantime, Kenny Brady trying to get up into 3rd, and for the lead, it is a challenge now. David Weishart, Jake Nichols going to duke it out for that top spot on the podium, and that was pretty much exactly a situation that's going to throw a wrench into the strategy of Weishart, because now they've equaled out on tires and he's got one less set, so it's kind of taken away from his long-term plans, but we'll see if he can hold out nonetheless, as these two can't get away from each other. Corey, they're going to stay side by side, and the pole winner and early race leader, the 26, I'm going to steal your line, Corey. Alicia Keys mode, he has fallen way down through the running early. P11 now for that 26. It has been not quite the run you'd expect. I don't know if he's got some damage or maybe just not pushing too hard.
Yeah, it's kind of, as you said, it's that fine line because you want to have the tires later in the run and you kind of expect that you might get a run, but as the race comes to an end, the odds of going green kind of lower and lower. If we can get maybe 25 laps in, maybe there's a chance this runs clean. We're still at a point here where we probably will need one more pit stop as we are now on the second half of the race. I think we took the green with about 65, 66 to go, so I'm imagining we'll need another pit stop. Could it be under green? I'm going to take a guess as to no, but you never know, as here comes Mercurio and the 73 battling and blocking down the front straightaway all the way down to the flat. Mercurio stuck there on the flat. Everybody is going to ring around the fence here and see if Mercurio can fight the snake groove and make that inside lane work.
Yeah, and it may not work right now. It may not be the fastest place to be, but if it stays green and we get a long run just like we did before, then again, it will pay off. And this time he's starting a lot closer to the front of the grid. So when it does start to pay off, he won't have to fight as hard to use that advantage and make up that time. He'll be right there to strike. So keep an eye on him for the long term. In the meantime, David Weishart showing that it wasn't just the tires that got him the lead. He definitely has the pace. He's able to hold on to the lead now that everything is stabled out. So not a bad drive so far tonight out of that number 29. And this gaggle of cars back here, Corey, this is what I called the danger zone earlier, mid-pack. Everybody fighting and scrambling to get a little bit further up the grid, not afraid to take risky moves. And it has been the source of some frustration for the drivers, I'm sure. But I tell you what, they are doing, for what this track is, they're doing a phenomenal job. I cannot stress to the viewers at home how difficult Kansas is when you got a pack of trucks this big. Strength of field is really high tonight. These are some really talented drivers. And this track just showing why it has the reputation it does. It is not an easy place to navigate.
Well, we'll asterisk that. It's an easy place to navigate until you get a full field of trucks out here of competitive drivers. I guess the same could be said about Talladega, because in a truck, this is kind of go flat, turn left, and then maybe about 20 laps in and you start to crack the throttle. But doing it all 2-3 wide while crossing over, while worrying about what lines to run, and then getting arrow tight, it certainly adds some entertainment into things here. And speaking of entertainment, you can add some life to your party this spring with Elite Entertainment. They're located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, aka musical bingo, and more. You can check out the link in the description for more information on that. Elite Entertainment. And this race has been Elite Entertainment with what we've seen. And to add that entertainment, let's have a lead change, or at least a battle for the lead. Nichols on the bottom, Weishart up top, fighting for his life, and I imagine that'll bring Kenny Brady into the fray here in a matter of moments.
It could be. The 73 going to duck down to that bottom groove. He's going to have to throw one heck of a slider, but it's going to be tough. He doesn't really have any help. They've actually broken away a little bit. It's going to be 0.3 of a second the advantage over the cars behind these leaders, and the two leaders are bumper to bumper. So at Kansas, generally you do need a little bit of help. The draft is a huge advantage when it comes to making overtakes. But if you're on your own and it's just two cars battling it out, it is very, very difficult to overtake. So he's going to have to get a big run, maybe throw a slider if he wants to get the lead. And I'm fairly certain he does, Corey. I don't think this is a place where you want to ride behind anybody, because when you have clean air, it's like you're driving a completely different truck. The handling gets better. Suddenly the truck rotates a little bit more, and that is a big thing, because we've seen drivers already starting to get tight tonight, Corey, getting in the wall. And when you're in dirty air, the tightness of the truck is just exemplified 2 times. It's crazy how much worse it handles, and they don't want to deal with that.
And it's all harder, too, when everyone's running the top and you're trying to get that clean air, but the only way to get that clean air is to run on the bottom of the track in that lesser banking. Of course, Kansas being 3 tiers, 18 on the bottom, 19 in the middle, 20 as you rip the fence. So as Kansas ages, as most progressively banked tracks age, which is, you know, Tuesday Hot Take. It's one of my radio station segments here. My Tuesday Hot Take. I hate progressively banked tracks because as they age, there's only one groove, and that's effectively the wall. So that's kind of how Kansas is becoming, even IRL, because when there's less grip, run where the banking is, and that's kind of why the top is so difficult. And when the only way to find grip is to run on less banking, we see how that creates the problems these guys are having.
Yeah, I fully agree there. And, oh, speaking of problems, number 20, he was having a good night. A little bit of damage now as 4 or 5 cars involved in an incident further back in the field. Dial up the Hendry County Motorsports Park instant replay. A little bit late to the party here.
Yeah, there we go. 20,
off the top wall.
And then Alex Chilcutt, Gabe Herschel.
There is some blowover physics going on here. Keep an eye on that.
No, I did see that. I did see that. So, contact there, and I think that's Caden Diedrich there. And, yeah, you saw the back end lift up here. Herschel, 05 of Preston Pardis involved. But, yeah, let's get a closer perspective here off the corner as to what happened here. I know I'm kind of being a noob on replays here. I apologize for that. Let's go. Yeah, the 24 kind of washed up the track there, and then 20 got into the fence. There's the 60. There's Preston Pardis down at the bottom. Luckily, there's about 76 it's something with an H. It's bigger than an acre, but
Hector.
Yes, of asphalt there at the inside. Thank you. There's no way Brad would have ever known what that word was. But it comes down to pit lane.
He's not even here and he's catching strays. My goodness.
Yeah. But coming down to the pits here, and this will put us in the window to finish this thing out at, 47 laps to go. David Weishart trying to get the run out of the pits here if he can. Let's see, Jack's drop. Is there some strategy calls being played? Diedrich is going to exit the pits first. He was involved in the caution, so he probably just drove right through the pits. Rocky Boyd being scored in second, I believe. Let's pull up our pit lane time pop-out here. Is that 2 tires on each of them? It looks as though the answer is yes. Or even fuel only, because I don't know if you could change tires in sub 8 seconds. So,
yeah, I don't know if you can. That may very well be fuel only. That is interesting if it is.
Actually, Diedrich is on the flat here, so he is, maybe he sped, which I imagine he probably sped, which is why he is dropping back right now. A couple cautions ago, we missed the call on it. The 53, we saw that wreck with Connor Horn. He did get deemed at fault. 2 incident points added to his tally. And again, as you get more points, I want to say 1 to 2 is nothing. And then once you get around 3 to 4 incident points, up to about 7 or 8, somewhere in that ballpark, that's where you get the EOLs, then you get the drive-throughs, and then you hit the road, Jack, and you don't come back no more. So these guys always want to have a clean run, especially after races where they tally some incident points, because otherwise that causes issues. And again, looking at the schedule that we have, Andre, if you have issues here, the odds of cleaning your act up to kind of wipe your slate clean at a road course and at Talladega becomes more infinitesimally difficult.
Yeah, there's not going to be a whole lot of slate cleaning at those tracks. It's going to be at the mercy of Lady Luck at Talladega. And a road course, well, honestly, if you're patient, you could probably save yourself some incident points. Just make sure you stay away from the other drivers. Don't get too overzealous with the track limits, and you should be all right. It's going to be a tough one, but manageable. Can't say the same about Talladega. Pace car going to pull off down pit road. That is pretty much going to be it for him. And now it is in the hands of Rocky Boyd in that number 16. Either 2 tires or no tires. Either way, he is going to have to try to hold back the entire field, who did indeed take tires. Behind him, the 73 gets the best restart of the podium drivers. That's going to put him up to P2. Going to slide to the outside. Looks like he should be able to get this lead no problem. Rocky Boyd getting really, really loose in the corner. You see the rear end of that car sliding around a little bit, stepping out on him. Oh, now he's in the middle on these old tires. That's going to be a big roadblock. Not what we want to see.
Mercurio, look at him.
Behind.
He got put in the worst spot in that. Now Brian Mercurio back to 12th spot. He was put in the middle there. Boyd was in the middle. Now are we 4 wide? Yes, and then you can see how that worked out.
We're still not. Nope. There's no way it stays green. Huge pile up, turn 4.
Groner,
the 15 involved again.
Yeah, he's hit everything except the lottery here today. That number 15 truck of Forrest Smith. But let's go check our Hendry County replay, and they're going to have to They're going to have to pony up extra sponsorship money because they're getting a lot of time here. The Hendry County replay. 13 and the 11.
They were 5 wide for a minute there, but yeah, the 13 into the 11, the 71 into the wall, and then, I mean, where are they going to go? It's just one of those situations. The whole track is kind of blocked. You just pick a lane and hope for the best and hope that you get through it, Harry, but he was not through it. He was right into the bottom lane where they slid. Going on board now with the number 15. Been involved in a couple incidents happening way up the road. Oh, that is unfortunate, Corey, because generally the rule of thumb is you go where they are, not where they will be. Unfortunately, he didn't slide down the banking like the 15 was expecting. He just stayed right there on the top groove, which is not what you typically see, and unfortunately, not able to get it rolled up.
Yeah, gravity did not do gravity things there, unfortunately, for Forrest. So, looks like that lap 76 wreck is being chalked up as a netcode incident between the 13 and the 11. I know, was it last week at Dover? Oh my God, netcode was absolutely atrocious. I'm not sure if some things going on the back ends, but not as much having today, luckily, but certainly it's being brought up nonetheless. So unfortunate for those guys involved here. Another partner here with the league. Actually, it is kind of the league itself. If you are looking to support the league and you want to look good in the process, you can visit shop.areairacing.com for high-quality merch at low prices. Shop from over 100 selection of t-shirts, hats, champion clothing, and other area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com. We did have a myriad of pit stops here. Pit road is a busy place. A lot of it, I assume, is damage repair. Some guys maybe, actually, just by the looks of it, a lot of damage repair because jacks aren't up and nobody's moving.
Yep, it is going to be a fair bit of repairs there. They're going to need to break out the soles all, break out the hammer, break out everything you got, get that car fixed up if you can. But unfortunately, it's going to be a tall order. I do know that the 86 that we had remarked had 9 minutes of damage did not ever come back out on track. He decided, you know what, 9 minutes of damage, I'm going to head on down to Applebee's. I'm going to watch this race on TV. Can't say I blame him. You know, when your car is that dinged up, sometimes you think, I'd just be a roadblock out there. You don't really want to put yourself in that situation. So, end of the night for a few drivers already, but so many drivers remaining in this field. And track position, Corey, we talked about it. It's very, very important. And a lot of these guys up front, they've been able to survive the chaos just because it's happening behind them.
Exactly that here. And you can see a lot of interesting information being provided to us by our fandom right here. And one of our fans saying, netcode ain't an issue today. It's a bunch of boneheads. Not my words. That is YouTube chat.
Which is funny because the call on that last incident, we just got it. 13 and 11 netcode.
Yeah, so obviously some different varying opinions, but that's what happens in the world of racing. People always say, why doesn't iRacing have AI call incidents out rather than a no-fault system? And that's because humans can't agree on who causes a wreck, let alone programming an AI to do it. So racing at its finest here, but racing at its finest indeed. Now coming to the final third of today's race, 120 laps. We're at lap number 80 this time by. Let's get it going again. Seth Noel and Jake Nichols. Nichols will get the jump from the outside. He will clear, and now it's the race to the bottom. Gain as many spots as you can here as everyone gets up to speed.
Yeah, they're going to single file out. Kenny Brady is going to take third place in the 78, the number 1, Seth Noel. P2, but he is looking to the bottom groove. Big shot out of Kenny Brady. Going to give him momentum, but unfortunately that momentum is going to be lost. And the 73 pulling out by about 2 truck lengths. And just when I had been counting him out, look at that 26, P4 fighting on the bottom groove, using the slipstream from that number 1. See what he can do down there. There's Mercurio. Probably really thankful for that caution is that 82 machine, Corey, because he was caught up in a huge log jam, nowhere to go, road was blocked. It was in a very sketchy situation. The caution comes out, and it's a reset. He's able to get too wide down to the bottom of the track where he wants to be, and he can breathe a little bit easier for the time being. So one of the very few drivers who's probably glad to see that yellow flag that we had. And in the meantime, for the lead, Seth Noel, he is not riding, Corey. He is really trying to make this move, moving around the track, up, down, trying to see where it would maybe be possible, but unable to make it come to fruition just yet.
Yeah, on that 609 Motorsports car of Seth Noel, trying to get the best run he can. Of course, his teammate up front with 609, Jake Nichols, leading things down. Other guys on that team, Philip Groner, he's had his issues, and then Jeremy Miller. I don't even see where Jeremy Miller is here on the pylon here, but not in the top 10 at the very least. But either way, trying to have that teammate battle. And then Kenny Brady, again, he joined the league maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's been on the podium, if I remember correctly, in each event. I think he's finished 3rd and 2nd, just trying to fill up that podium streak and get the P1, but a lot of work to be had. Jonathan Evans trying to get his positions back, started up front, fell to the back, mid-pack, and now he is up front when it matters, trying to dig on that low lane, but we know how difficult that it is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, on the short run, you're just not going to make up that much time down there. But unfortunately, the short runs are all they've really had to work with. So the drivers that have taken the high line and really made themselves comfortable up there, they're the ones that have really been profiting so far. It's been the place to be. When you have cautions kind of sprinkled evenly throughout the race, you never really have to worry about that tire wear, and you never really get to see the fruits of your labor if you're one of those guys down there saving. So the top groove, the place that you want to be, as the leader is up there. 2nd place, Seth Noel, the 26, spearheading the bottom, doing what he can. But as you said, Corey, not a whole lot can be done. 8 car has been on a bit of a recovery tour. He was a little bit further back in the grid. Now back up, fighting for a top 5 position, seeing what he can get done. And it's strange, Corey. The race is winding down. Lap 86 out of 120. I think they've actually calmed down a little bit since the start of this race. They're getting single and 2 wide a little bit quicker. They're not making as aggressive of overtakes. Do you think that we've had enough cautions that they're like, all right, let's just get to the end, and then maybe we pull out the big guns there?
I mean, that's normally the strategy I like to say, is let's just kind of, especially at these pseudo-plate style races, which I'll throw this in the category. You know, of course, you have your Daytona, your Talladega, you throw your Atlantas in there. Get to the end, get to the last 20 laps, then throw the haymaker out. The only flaw of that strategy is if everybody throws out the haymakers at 20 to go, then you're in the same predicament. There's nowhere to go. You have to try that much harder to make the passes when everybody else is going guns out. So maybe it's better to make the passes now and then try to play a little bit more defense later in the race. But just, you can kind of see as we just kind of go through a couple different shots here, we are thinned out a little bit. Of the 43 drivers who took to the grid, 20, about 30-ish are still on the track on the lead lap, but only about 24 are in this kind of lead pack, if you will. Then we have a bunch of guys with some damage kind of, you know, running by themselves. So it is thinned out a little bit, which gives you a little bit more room to play with, which I guess could prove to the point of maybe getting that green flag running that we yearn for.
Yeah, honestly, the way that they're racing now, it could very easily stay green. They've really mellowed out a little bit. You love to see it. Jake Nichols is definitely liking it. He's got the lead. He's got the track position, the clean air. A caution would jeopardize that, so he's wanting it to stay green. Gotta admit, admire the dedication to the bottom lane from the 26. He has gained a few positions. Riding on board now with Garrett Conrath in P11, just outside the top 10, trying to take a top 10 position. He is one of the drivers on the high line and making it work pretty well, but not a lot of wiggle room there as he literally wiggles going into the corner. Gets a little bit sideways, sacrifices a little bit of time, but he will make it right back up. Center of the corner, he's got a lot of good rotation speed in that car, it would seem. But, looks like some lap traffic coming into play as well, and now here we go. We're fanning out lap traffic down below. Second and third taking the bottom groove, the leader taking the top. That brings them right back together, and oh my goodness, oh boy, you could not have put a piece of paper between any of those drivers in the 3-wide situation. Nothing really the 09 could have done. He tried to stay low, but everybody else wanted to be down there with him, so that was a risky situation. Now that opens up the battle for P2. Jonathan Evans in that number 26 tries to take it away, not quite able to do so. He moves to the high lane. He tried low, nobody home, trying high. Let's see what he's got, but Kenny Brady not making it easy. He's filling up the rearview mirror, making his presence known to that 26 as well. We are at under 30 to go in this race, and it is heating up here. Still everybody fanning out. The 82 on that low groove gets a 2-for-1 special there, Corey.
Yeah, Bob's your uncle gets 2 spots in one corner and gets the push from Peyton Howell. Peyton Howell, how many times did I say he needs to make something happen? He's been in the teens, 20s for the majority of the race, but now in the time that matters, he gets that Toyota up into the top 6/5, depending on the circuit around. This time by now relegated back to 6, but again, gets himself where he wants to be when it matters there. David Weishart, who has led a fair amount of laps, the specific number that there being 29 matching his truck, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to get at least 30 to get a victory here, but he's relegated back to the 8th spot, trying to go to the outside of Ryan Andrew in that beautifully spec-mapped automobile. And again, we do have to give credit to iRacing, something that a lot of times we don't do, because they did update the renderer model thingy, fancy techie thing, that made the spec maps at night actually work. And it is nice seeing those kind of chrome and metallic shine under the artificial Kansas light.
Yeah, it really does. It is a good looking car. Every time I see it, it just pops, and that is one of the best things about iRacing, is just the things you can do with these paint schemes, the spec maps you can apply. But in the meantime, Jake Nichols leading the way, 0.2 of a second going to be the advantage. A little bit of separation, 3 cars starting to break away from the rest of the field. And Nichols really has been one of the best trucks all night. I believe he's got the most laps led. Definitely able to play some really good defense, but not sure. Yep, 50 laps led tonight. So more than half of what we have run has been led by Nichols in that 73. Didn't start up front, but he got there, and he never looked back in that 609 Chevrolet.
Let's see what's going on here. Again, the battle of note has been right at the back of the top 10. Weishart, who I thought he was on his way upwards, but in fact on his way downwards, it seems. As I think he has gotten passed by, no, he was working on the 84, so he's still doing what he was doing. But Garrett Conrath, who really hasn't been a factor in today's race. He's kind of been relegated in the teens for most of the race, currently in the top 10. Again, he is second in the points, about 48 behind Mercurio, so this will be further a loss to him. But either way, the playoffs resetting in 2 weeks' time, so that won't be anything of severity there. He has his 1 win on the season, but someone who doesn't have a win on the season is actually Seth Noel, who is in that 2nd spot. Jonathan Evans, he does not have a win on the season either. He wants one, but Jake Nichols does have one. He wants to try to get number 2, and it looks like he has lost his advantage to make that cause a little more difficult.
Yeah, not surprising. They're turning up the wick a little bit here. It is 23 laps remaining. Well, 22 and a half, I should say. On the backstretch here, number 26 started up front. He wants to get back there. Seth Noel has been a persistent challenger. I'm not sure if he has any laps led, but he has been right here battling for the lead all night long, and he wants to get this checkered flag. Everybody really single filed out. You can see in the panning shot, looking back down this straightaway. It looks calm, but I assure you it is not. These drivers trying to pick up every point they can. With the playoffs looming and a few uncertain racetracks over the horizon, they want to get everything they can out of Kansas, and slotting back in line just barely. Number 1 looked low, realized it wasn't quite going to happen, and was able to get back in the groove. So able to maintain that second position. And look who's joined this three-car breakaway, by the way, Corey. The number 82, the long-run driver who has just been so good when it stays green. He's been on the bottom groove, saving the tires all night long, and now it is finally paying off. He's able to get up here, duke it out for a podium position. If it stays green, you might be looking at a contender.
And interestingly enough, well, because I was going to make the point of it, they don't do it. But the prior lap, everybody voluntarily ran kind of low middle. And that time by through 3 and 4, everybody running up top. And we talked earlier, I don't remember what the numbers were, but the track temp has, I think it was right around that, so it hasn't really changed too much here, but 86 track temp here as we push 10 o'clock sim time. More grip available. And with these night races, Andre, what happens is it gives the other lines more grip. So here at Kansas, where there is less grip on the bottom with the lack there of banking, when the track gets cooler, there's enough grip on that bottom to where it can be advantageous. And for someone like Mercurio, who's been running down there, that certainly goes to his advantage.
Well, and he not only has a little bit more grip with this being a night race, but he's also got the advantage of a little bit of clean air. These guys are all running the high lane, so there's nothing causing turbulence ahead of him, and that car is going to be handling really well on that bottom groove. That's where he wants to be. He's able to slot into third, take it away from the number 26. He's going to have to run the high line here as the 26 takes away that low groove. See if he can make anything of it, but nothing for certain. And if these drivers continue to slow themselves down and battle amongst themselves, well, there's another driver not far behind looking to join them. Kenny Brady as well as Peyton Howell. We've talked about Peyton quite a few times. And these two drivers have had really good, solid, steady runs tonight. And that consistency is paying off because they are reeling in the leaders a little bit, one corner at a time. This could very easily be a 6-car battle for the lead.
Exactly that. Powerhouse Racing, which houses that number 26 and that number, I guess number 9, 9/26, depending on the league. But that 26 and Peyton Howell under that same team there, so they're looking to have a great run there. But 609 Motorsports up front with the grasp on the race. Coast to Coast Motorsports with Brian Mercurio trying to get the 4th win of the season. And you obviously, you're in a spot here, Andre. You got your teammate, but you also don't want the other team and the guy who's dominated to win. So even though 609, they both want the win individually, I think their utmost goal is just to make sure that one of them can put that truck in victory circle.
Yeah, the thing about team orders is they're a lot more reliable when you're not racing for the lead, because at that point, you say that, right? It would make sense for them just to kind of play nice and make sure that, they get a 1-2 no matter which order it's in. But both of these drivers want to be the one in that 1-2. So I don't think they're going to, not fight each other. I think they're going to basically race as if it was just every man for himself. But you never know. We'll see. For second place, Brian Mercurio does get down to the bottom groove, and it looks like he's going to get a good, solid run through 1 and 2, and it's not quite going to be enough. It was a great corner, but still the number 1 fighting back, getting momentum up on that wall, scraping the outside wall a little bit, but it does not take away from his momentum. Then back to the bottom. This is where the 82 makes up all of his pace, and the 73 up high as well, putting his teammate in a little bit of dirty air there. If you're the leader, Corey, what do you do here? Who do you put in dirty air? What lane do you run? Or do you just run your lane and pay no mind to those drivers in your rear?
I'm going to say option 2, because at this point you know that outside lane is the defensive lane to run. And you know that if you have someone close enough to your rear bumper, which you do in the sense of Seth Noel, your teammate here, there's not a slider lane that Mercurio can run. If the 73 has the one close to him, he's going to have to pass 2 trucks to clear. So ultimately, if the 73 and the 1 can stay close enough together, it becomes even more exponentially difficult for the 82 to make a pass, because the only way he will is to be able to go 2 for 1, which has been done, but it's very difficult to do at this stage of a race on the tires.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's tough, but again, high strength of field tonight, so if anybody's able to do it, it would be these drivers, somebody in this field. A lot of talent in this area.
Kenny Brady! Into the fence hard.
he got into the fence, but honestly, it didn't look like he lost that much speed. Didn't really cost him too much, luckily, unless it damaged the truck. But other than that, kind of got away with one there. The number 29, who did lead so many laps, really played the strategy card, and it almost worked out in his favor.
Look at this. Look at this recovery, Andre.
And Connor Horn, involved in 2 separate incidents tonight, had a lot of damage after the second incident. He's able to run P12, fighting for P11. That is, you're right, Corey, not a bad recovery at all. I would not have expected him to be up here fighting for a potential top 10.
Yeah, especially that would put, if he can get in the top 10, that'll be 3 of those 609 trucks in the top 10 here. The other 609 truck, the 11 of Philip Groner, is out of today's efforts. But here we go with the 15 of Forrest down to the inside. That's going to take Mercurio's line away from him now, and now he can't go all the way down to the flat down the front, which certainly is going to go to the aid of Noel. And he'll get out of the way, but now sub 10 laps to go. Let's see what happens. I'm actually really interested to see. Mercurio is far enough away from the 73 that a slider line could be engaged entering corner number 3 if he chooses to do it. Will he? He's going to try it. Will it clear? Will it clear? Answer is no. I think. Yep, no.
Well, yeah, it's not quite going to be enough, but he came close. He came really close. Now he's got to be on the defensive. Look at that 26. If he went any lower, he was going to put 2 tires in the grass trying to make a move. He's picking up pace here down to that white line. He's making it work. As they battle, it is again allowing Kenny Brady, Peyton Howell to close in. And another player as well, Jake Fisher in that 84, not far behind either, sitting in a catbird seat if anything were to occur ahead of him there. But I'll tell you what, it looks tough to pass. These guys are throwing some absolute haymakers, Corey. They are not leaving any opportunities on the table. They're taking what they got, and it's just not quite enough. The overtakes, when you don't have a big pack of cars to lend you the draft, it just seems like wherever you are, you might be stuck.
Yeah, you go back to, I believe it was, Andre, you're the fact-check king of the world. You go back to, I think, 2008 with Carl Edwards doing the old Kansas slider on Jimmy Johnson, put himself intentionally into the fence. Didn't quite work, but sometimes those Kansas haymakers, Kansas slide jobs are what you have to do. But as I said, you have to have the space to clear the path. Something you talk about at Eldora on the dirt tracks. If you're in a pack of cars, you can't do the slider because you don't have a way to clear and to slide up. And then even if you do, you set yourself up for the crossover. We saw that many times earlier in the race. Soon as someone makes a pass, there's a crossover move. Here comes a 26. He's going to do a slider. He's going to do a dive bomb, the Kansas haymaker. But again, no room to clear because he's not going to go 2 for 1. His best hope is that he can maintain momentum and stay side by side with at least one of them.
Yeah, you would hope he can stay side by side, but the momentum tough to build, even tougher to keep. 6 to go here at Kansas. That 26 rolling the bottom. He's just ever so slowly chipping away. He is gaining ground. It is working for him. It's just extremely slow, this progress he is making, and unfortunately the clock is starting to run out. The 82 has all but given up on that low lane. As the 26 is taking it away from him, he said, all right, I'm going to move up top. I'm going to stay there, and we're just going to see if we can make it work. The number 1 going to duck down low. More lap traffic and play going into the corner. He's going to get down to the bottom. It should not be a huge factor in this battle. And the 26, the 82 going to stay side by side. It'll be 3 wide momentarily, but it is a wide section of the track. No concern there for the lap traffic. I cannot believe the 26 has not been able to make something happen. He's got such good center speed, but they get to that straightaway, and it's all taken away. They get that momentum to carry all the way down the line. And that number 1, I think, playing a little bit of defense now. He's kind of keeping them side by side, weaving up and down. He's up high, he's down low, making sure that these guys continue to battle, that nobody gets clear. And that way, he can hold on a second and maybe challenge for the lead by himself.
Yeah, right now it's kind of hard to tell. Looks like Noel may have just run out of steam, or maybe he's planning a last-second charge. But Jake Nichols has about a 2-truck length lead. Different lines at play here through 3 and 4. And again, Jake Nichols getting his one win of the season at Watkins Glen and looking to break into the victory column here on the oval. Seth Noel currently running third in points, has 3 top 5, 7 top 10s, but wants that win, and he's making some headway there on the inside lane. He can run that lane by himself because he can use all of the real estate on the exit of the corner. Maybe, just maybe, he's saved a little bit of something left. And look at the 73. Maybe he saw that inside lane was working. Says, I don't care if you're my teammate, I'm taking it away as we come to 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go. If they're going to make anything happen for this lead, they got to start winding it up right now. They got to start planning it and building that momentum. This has not been a track where you can make a pass on a single corner. So as long as Jake Nichols continues to hit his marks, he should be all right. But nothing a guarantee. These guys have been green for a while now, longer than they've been pretty much all night long, so they're in a bit of uncharted territory as far as this tire wear, as far as handling for these cars. That number 1 is going to dive it way down low, and that gained him about 2 truck lengths, and it put him right back in striking distance. White flag is out. Final lap of the race here at Kansas. Teammates battling for the win. That number 1 had a ton of speed through the corner. He's going to stay high right behind the teammate, and he's going to have one more chance down through 3 and 4 to make anything happen.
Yeah, coming down the back straightaway here at Kansas. Will the 73 win the bottom? Will he protect the slider line? He'll do that. The 1 will have to go to the top. Hope he can build some momentum and get a crossover move off of 4. That will not come into fruition. Jake Nichols is going to get win number 2 on the season. 1 at the Glen, now wins at Kansas. Nichols gets the win for 609 here in the Area Truck Series. Noel second, Mercurio in third, Evans and Brady rounding out our top 5.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody on that podium and everybody in the top 5 definitely deserves it. It was a hard-fought battle. These guys, they didn't ride. I don't think there was a single lap of this race where they just decided, you know what, I'm going to just make my laps. I'm not going to get too crazy with it. These guys fought for 120 laps, and it was the 73 who led the most of them and came out on top. It was a flawless race for the driver of that purple Chevrolet. He is going to go ahead and burn it to the ground across the stripe. I'd be pretty happy too. All the chaos, all the crazy things that happened tonight, not only to survive the race, but to come out with the trophy. Got to be a big, big relief, especially knowing that you maximized Kansas going into some uncharted territory in the next couple weeks.
Exactly that here, and if you want to celebrate tonight's win along with Jake Nichols, you can get some victory fuel. Choose some caffeine-free flavors like Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, or Lucky Lemon. Each can packed with electrolytes charged with vitamins and kid-friendly. You can get 10% off your order with Area iRacing at checkout. Go to victoryfuel.com and help us out in that capacity. But let's go start our post-race show, run things down with our final order results here today from the Kansas Speedway. Getting the win by a final margin of about 0.2 of a second over his teammate. Jake Nichols will get it over Seth Noel. Mercurio had the speed, but just couldn't make the passes. He'll settle for a podium run in third. Jonathan Evans, a solid run in fourth. 6.66 off. Hopefully that's not bad luck for him going into the following races. Kenny Brady in a fifth spot. Peyton Howell in sixth. Jake Fisher, Garrett Conrath, Ryan Andrew, and what a good recovery. Connor Horn sneaks out of top 10.
Outside of the top 10, Jordan Kuntz in the 99 had a lot of speed early, but lost a little bit of that momentum later in the race. Still a good finish, P11. Ricky Springer, he had to serve a penalty at the start of this race, overcame it all the way back up to P12. David Weishart gambled on a strategy, didn't quite work out, P13. Trey Edison going to be P14. 15th goes to Jeremy Brown. AJ Stravato is going to be at P16. Jeremy Miller takes 17th. Justin Anasogak, I believe it was, is going to be P18. Again, I'm bad with words. Mason Kane going to be P19, and rounding out the top 20, Alex Chilcutt.
All right, 21st through 30th, Jalen Handcamp. We got Ben Pierce, Tyler Hallman in 23rd, Doug Denice in 24th. Casey Lakatos gets a 25th, Preston Pardis, 26th, Gabe Herschel, Caden Diedrich, Nico Servideo, and then Bryce Senesac, and then the rest of these guys here in today's efforts have all been involved in issues. Forrest Smith hit everything but the lottery there. That 15 had some bad luck, as did Travis Beckner. You could see other drivers. Ryan Swan had a fair of issues here today, and just rounding out our running order today. Pacioli, last week's winner here, as I now become German, finishes in 43rd. The other two were DNSs. But let's head down to Victory Circle, our Victory Fuel Victory Circle. And we'll meet up with Jake Nichols. Jake gets win number 2, the first on a road course. Now he gets it here on the oval at Kansas. You had to fight with your teammate, a hard charge in Mercurio and Evans. But ultimately, you played good defense, you ran the right lines, and you get win number 2, man. How's it feel?
Feels pretty good. I feel like I was out of breath just trying to hit the lines good, and it's a lot of mirror driving. I felt like Dale Jr. like around 2014, super speedways, just watching the mirror the whole time. If one guy went to the middle, I'd try to block the middle the next time, and if they went back to the top, I'd try to block the top, and just going back and forth. Especially restarts were crazy because we were pretty much on the verge of full throttle for a few laps. So runs would generate pretty quick, so you had to kind of just play a lot of defense. And I felt pretty good at the start of the race. Just went top side and went from like 6th to 2nd pretty quick, and felt like we had a good chance to win this thing. And I love this paint scheme. We got a new paint this week, and I guess it helped with confidence a little bit. Kind of just went out there and dominated, did our thing for 609 and Matt Liveries and Simrat Market and everybody, and thankfully we got another dub.
Yeah, and you said confidence, man, and it must be certainly pretty good for you. Helps you with your points as well. Gaining some speed, gaining some over Garrett there, trying to get your seeding right for the playoffs in 2 weeks. And Andre and I in the booth were talking about the next 2 races to round out the regular season. It must feel good to get a good win here at Kansas, because 2 pseudo wild cards to end the regular season at Coda, and then of course at Talladega. So how important is it here to kind of put a good asterisk on today's race, knowing that the next 2 weeks could be treacherous?
It's good to get some playoff points. Obviously it's always good to get extra playoff points, and really trying to get better seeding before the playoffs to get even more of that. But we like Coda typically, and obviously the road courses we won at the Glen, but it'll be hard to beat Mercurio this time. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But Talladega is obviously the wild card. You could go and win the thing, or you could be on your roof. So hopefully we can just get another good week next week for especially team point side. We had a good night with 1-2, but if we could take that then and go to Dega and just really survive going into the playoffs and have a little more momentum going into there, and I think we can win the championship in this thing.
Yeah, who knows? And let's just throw all that regular season. Let's just throw a new build in there too. Let's just see whatever that throws into the mix, man. But congrats on your victory here today. Any final words before we let you go?
Hopefully it was a good show. It was crazy out there. It wasn't really my style at first, but once you got in the lead, I kind of just I like going and leading laps, and with this thing it kind of helps with dirty air a little bit and a lot of throttle, and hopefully we put on a great show out there tonight. It felt awesome, so hopefully we did so. You did just that, man. We had some fun, and you're having some fun too. Grab a can of Victory Fuel and enjoy the show, man. Thank you. And now Andre will catch up with the teammate who fell just a little bit short here today, Mr. Seth Noel.
Mr. Noel, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, Seth, good news is it was a 1-2 for your team. The moderately disappointing news is that you weren't the number 1 in that situation, but it was close. You made one heck of a swing at it, dove down low in both of the final corners there, really closed up the gap a little bit, just wasn't quite enough. Walk me through your race and tell me a little bit about what kind of conditions you were facing out there.
Yeah, we were just trying to manage the short run pack raciness of it and trying to survive. We were kind of stuck for a while until about halfway, and then we started slowly kind of figuring it out, how to do all the short run stuff and put ourselves in good spots where we can move forward and then get to the top, because once you get to the top after like 10 laps, you just run there. The middle was better, but it's just so hard to pass that. And you saw that at the end with Brian and Jonathan. They were both on my left rear and just kind of stuck. So just try to control our own destiny and managed to get a P2 on the night. Obviously, I wish I could have done one spot better, but if I'm going to lose anyone, at least it's a teammate. Get good team points out of the night and head on to Coda in 2 weeks.
Yeah, good points night for the team and a good points night for yourself going into some relatively shaky racetracks coming up, a road course and a super speedway. How are you feeling about those two tracks, and of them, which one are you kind of looking forward to the most?
Neither would be the correct answer.
Yes, that is the correct answer.
Hopefully, Coda, we can come out of a top 5, maybe similar to Watkins Glen. I think we got 3rd there, so maybe we have a good night there and just try and put ourselves in a good spot for earning the regular season playoff points for after Talladega. And we all know what Talladega is going to bring. I mean, I don't have to bring that, describe that one, but hopefully I can put myself in a position where I don't really have to worry too much about the regular season points and just go boys have at it at Talladega and go have some fun trying to brawl for the win. And hopefully we can do that then.
Yeah, we never know how it's going to end, but we do know it will be fun one way or the other. Congratulations on the podium, sir. And before we let you go, is there any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, shout out Swim Graphics, and we put the Corning on the truck since Watkins Glen. Always love looking at the billboard at Watkins Glen, and appreciate Matt putting that on the truck. Shout out to Matt Liveries. Appreciate the 609 boys bringing me on again this season after a good run that last season, and just try and keep on trucking as we continue into the playoffs.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, appreciate you, boys.
All right, and then last but not least here on the evening, sorry I cut you off there because I hate making people wait.
Then there's hello.
Speaking of cutting people off, we got Mr. Brian Mercurio here, who started 11th, finished 3rd. I have a hard time figuring out how you're going to feel about this race, man, because obviously you were kind of put in some tough situations. You couldn't really ever get the track position to take control of the race, and we know how difficult it is to pass here at Kansas, and that ended up being too difficult for you. How you computing the 3rd place finish here tonight?
It was good. I gave Seth and Jake a bunch of props. Seth even, I joined them in the waiting room, and I was like, man, Jake, you got to give Seth a ton of credit there for being one hell of a defender. And Seth was like, I was doing my best. So they ran a great race still, but it's just, when you have guys that are teammates and they're 1-2 ahead of me, they can just kind of coordinate what I'm trying to do or where I'm trying to go on track. And it's so tough running on the top. You just carry so much momentum. Even if you hit it okay, you could just carry momentum. And when you have two guys, like I said, working together, they'll just carry that all the way through, and it makes it real difficult to pass.
Yeah, and it just didn't work out for you. You couldn't ever pull that slider because, like you said, they were just too close to each other. But obviously, Jake will get some playoff points here. He'll get a little bit better seeding with 2 wins now. You still lead the charge with 3, and word on the street is you can etch the trophy because Coda is likely to be yours in 2 weeks' time. Is that a little bit of a stretch statement, or do you share that same amount of confidence heading into the last 2 races of the regular season?
That was actually the exact conversation I was having with Jake before I joined you guys up here. So yeah, I don't know. I won't have to start at the back this time, so at least I won't have to pass too many cars, hopefully, as long as I can still qualify well. But we'll see. Yeah, I like to think I can win a race at Coda, especially with the pace that kind of show at Watkins Glen. I feel like I'm particularly good at Watkins Glen, and I feel like I'm pretty good at road courses in general. But unfortunately, there's no guarantees. So as much as you might want to etch my name into the trophy already, we got to wait until the race itself happens.
And of course, we are running the alt layout here. I know it's not the exact real life layout, but close enough to it, which will of course be an asterisk into things. But either way, man, a solid 3rd place effort here today. Any final words before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to give a big thank you to all the guys over at Coast to Coast Racing. Had 5 of us race tonight. Unfortunately, Tim's night ended early, but great run from myself. Another top 10 for Jake. So that was some good solid team points. Good for the morale. We had Preston and Gabe run as well, finish the race. So they were trying a different strat, didn't work out, but still had a good time. I want to give a big thanks to all of our partners at Coast to Coast. First off, Rebel Rabbit, High Seltzer for being on my truck, the NYC and NJ NASCAR Club, Morass.live, T-Patch Designs, Paul Fod Racing, What's on Tap, Preston and all of his brands and his websites and everything. We got a bunch of guys who support us in doing this whole coast to coast effort. It's a bunch of fun. you guys for putting on the broadcast, everyone at Area for putting this together, and I think we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Well, I think we're actually covering the All-Star race next week per my schedule. So if you're there, we'll see you there. But if not, certainly we'll see you at COTA in a couple weeks' time.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
See you. So that'll wrap things up here today from the Kansas Speedway. And, we didn't get our caution tally here on the day, so we'll kind of skip our caution game. But 7 cautions for 21 laps here was the tally. Kenny Brady gets the Xfinity fastest lap. That doesn't actually mean anything. But, Andre, your first time with us here on an Area broadcast, and Kansas does Kansas things, puts on an exciting show, and ultimately the truck that led the most laps gets the benefit of getting the trophy tonight.
Yeah, I got to tell you, for my first race with Area, I was impressed. Kansas is a track that breeds a lot of wrecks, a lot of chaos, but really 7 cautions was right about kind of where I was hoping it would be on the lesser side. So it was a great race. These guys showed a lot of respect for each other, and they fought hard. So I had fun. I think they had fun. And that is what matters. So looking forward to seeing some more racing in the future. And obviously, I won't be in the booth for the All-Star race, but I'll be tuning in with everybody else, seeing what these guys have to offer.
Exactly that. So make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're on PTR TV on the YouTube side or the Twitch side, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 1,700. If you're on the Twitch side of things, make sure you follow the Area iRacing Twitch and consider subscribing for the $5 a month. Get yourself the points, e-boats, and potentially some free merch. But that's going to be Corey and Andre signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.